We're kicking off this hour with our regular guest on the show, the retired Deputy Principal of Rice College and educational consultant John Burns. But he's not here to talk about education. He has recently been on a visit to Missionvale in Port Elizabeth in South Africa. He saw firsthand the work being carried out there, from education and healthcare to food and skills training. The impact is visible everywhere, and John joins me now to share his experience on Missionvale and the people behind it. John, a very good morning to you.
Good morning, Alan. How are you doing?
Very well, thanks very much for coming in, particularly to talk about something that you don't normally talk about. It's usually, as I say, educational matters, but you're a regular visitor to South Africa. I don't know whether you're a regular visitor to Missionvale itself, but if so, tell us more and tell us about your recent visit, what brought you there.
Sure, but maybe before I go into that, just to put the education cap on for 1 second, I just want to wish all of the students around the county all the very best, because there's a lot of them are starting their mocks today and it'll be going on for next week. So for them it's a worrying time, it's stressful. So to wish them, our own crowd in Rice College of course, and all students across the county, just do your best, that's all you can do, and just leave it at that. I hope you all do very, very well. But Alan, South Africa is a place I fell in love with about 4 years ago when we were down there on holidays, and I've been going back there I think every year since, because the job I have now with, say, doing weddings and being involved in the wedding game, nothing really happens in January or February, which I'm very happy about, because that...
Because I can tell it's usually around January when John is going to South Africa, and I can tell because he's grinning like a Cheshire cat. It sounds like a wonderful country, and I guess no better time of the year to be going, John.
Oh, it's a magnificent...
Leaving the rest of us behind to deal with a dark and lengthy January.
Yes, well, as you know, when the weather's nice out there and I'm walking the beach, I do send you texts saying, how's the weather in Ireland, just to rub it in.
Yeah. Thanks, I really appreciate that.
Not at all. But South Africa, it's very hard to describe it. I mean, it's one of the most beautiful countries in the world. It's stunning, and the road system is designed in such a way that you can actually see all of it over, say, well, not all of it, but certainly a lot of it over maybe a 2-3 week period. And you would have to spend that amount of time there if you're going there, because the distance.
It's a big country.
It's a big country, yeah. But I was out there in January, and I hadn't planned to go to Missionvale, but something is happening in the ether, in the universe, where two students from Rice College, along with a group of other students, I think, are going out to Missionvale in February, in around, I think, their midterm. And Father Donogh O'Mara and his team are looking after that. And I'm also on the board of management of Rice College. So this was starting to say to me, should you be involved in this? And I was in Jeffreys Bay, where I stay in South Africa, which is just 45 minutes outside Port Elizabeth. And I said, you know something, I'll drive down. And I can't plan anything. So I drove down on the day when they were closed.
You didn't ring ahead.
I didn't ring ahead. Now, having said that, I drove into Port Elizabeth from Jeffreys Bay down the N2 and found the actual Missionvale Care Centre. And I just stood there for a few minutes, and it was shocking to look outside the gate of it and to see what I was looking at. These rows and rows and rows of tin buildings, these rows of very, very rudimentary houses.
Just shanty towns, for want of a better phrase.
What struck me also was the amount of litter that was absolutely everywhere in that area. And then there was kids there, there was a couple of kids there, they were trying to make a kind of a buggy and they were running around. There was dogs running around, there was action, there was life. There's small little shops. I saw a really tiny shop with a sign over it, cheapest shop in Africa. And I don't doubt it.
That's the only best way to get business, I guess, in the scenario you describe. But it must be such an eye opener, you know, for considering the life we're used to.
Oh yeah, but I mean, and you see, I'll be very careful what I'm talking about, because there is a level of understandable compassion fatigue in Ireland now, because people are being pulled out of left, right, and centre, and the TV is being, inundated with pictures of hunger and starvation and famine. That's always going to be the way. I mean, there's always going to be that level in the world. It shouldn't be, but that's the way it's going to be, I think. But on that particular day, I pulled the car up outside Missionvale and I saw this church, which was Our Lady of the Wayside. And I said, Jesus, I'm back in Lissycasey. And there was Our Lady of the Wayside. And I was starting to think then of Sister Ethel Normoyle, my connections in South Africa. And there's a Lissycasey connection with Clare FM also, here with Joan Hanrahan, who would have been a good friend of Sister Ethel's and who's on the staff of Rice College. And I was talking to Joan while I was out there. there. But there was a girl in there called Magdalena, and she saw me pull the car up. So did the local police service.
I hope Magdalena got to you first.
No, the police got to me first.
Right, okay.
Yeah. And just asking, well, who are you and what are you doing? And I found out then that the Missionvale Centre is adored, protected and loved by the township in which it is situated, but also by the wider Port Elizabeth community.
So they wanted to make sure your intentions were pure, you were there for good reasons.
And even though there might be issues with crime in the township, which is right outside its door, it doesn't spill into Missionvale Centre, because the people who live there see this centre as a beacon of hope, a beacon of love, a beacon of care. And this isn't just an idea of compassion. You know, to have compassionate thoughts is lovely, but when you put compassionate thoughts into action, that's when things really start to happen and start to change.
So can you tell us a little bit about the action then, some of the work that Missionvale does?
Yeah, well then I went back to Jeffreys Bay. I met a friend of mine back there. We have friends down there called Marcus, and I said, you know something, will we go down to Missionvale on Monday or Tuesday, whenever day it was? And he said, I'd love to go down. So I rang them and I asked them what could we bring, because you don't go into anyone's house with your two hands hanging. And she said, well, just bring down some bread and some stuff for the kids. And it's perfect. So we pulled into this shop called Checkers, which is, I suppose, like Pennies or whatever you call it here.
The second cheapest shop in Africa?
It wasn't actually, no. I got rightly caught at this one.
All right.
It didn't bother me. But I think we bought 25 loaves of bread. We filled the car, peanut butter, jam, all these cooked meats, bags and bags of sweets, bags of apples, bags of bananas, all as much as I could pack in. And Marcus said to me, what the hell are you doing? I said, come on, I have a plan. So we drove down to Missionvale, drove in, and then on this one it really hit me what was happening here. This is the gospel in action. And I don't mean to bring a religious tone into it, but Sister Ethel was Sister Ethel. This is how kingdom is created. I mean, there was a line of people outside the gate. I was able to drive through. There's a line of people outside the gate, fathers, mothers with smaller kids, lining up for bread and soup. It was so well organised. And then I met the manager, and I was chatting away to her, and she said, right, come on. So she landed myself and Marcus into a kitchen, and we unloaded the car, and we spent the morning making sandwiches. I've never made as many as fast, and I didn't even eat one of them. I couldn't go near them. But and then when we decided we'd time it, we went to the classrooms with the meat ones before their break, and to walk into those classrooms, to see what was done by the Irish here, you get this sense of pride. And as you walk in, the kids stand up in their beautiful little uniforms, and the teacher asks them to say thank you, even though you've done nothing yet. And we went around then giving out sandwiches and the whole lot and chatting to the kids. And I remember giving a sandwich to a little girl, and she said, no, I don't want it. I said, that's fine. And she gave it to the fellow beside her. And I said, why are you giving it to him? He's my brother. Well, I said, he has one. Yeah, but he's going to take it anyway.
She knew well, she just cut to the chase.
She was hedging her bets. So we got to her eventually. And then outside we were also looking after the people who were cleaning weeds and everything else. And then after lunch, or after break, we went around with another tray. Everything we brought down to the last bit gone. And it was just so empowering. I said to myself, this is living. This is living when you're actually able to give back something to life, you know, and to see the love in their eyes and the joy in their eyes, and to be in the classrooms and watching the teachers doing the English and doing the maths, and some kids speaking in Afrikaans, and it was stunning. And then I got a chance then to see the full centre. I met the doctor who was actually just about to treat a lady coming in who was having complications with a pregnancy. They have a sexual health clinic trying to stem the tide on the rise of HIV by an education programme. There was people working in a kind of a little art shop, making bits. They have a swap shop. It's a huge complex. And the whole complex is about building dignity from the ground up. This isn't the Irish going in saying, this is what we want, this is what we think you need. That was the original model of development aid. Is
it a huge part of it just trying to give people a leg up, as opposed to, you know, offering them an opportunity to get ahead and maybe get out of the circumstances they find themselves in? Because the setup around Missionvale that you described, John, the contrast couldn't be clearer.
It's unbelievable, and it's bottom-up development. So the Missionvale will go into the township, and they will, with the residents who live there, protect their dignity and figure out from them what are their needs. They have a fantastic system also in there called the MCC, which is Missionvale. I think the credit coupons or something like that. So the kids, some of the students will be given little jobs to do, and they'll be given it's almost like a credit card. And for each job they do, there's so many points in the credit card, and they can spend those points in the Missionvale Centre in the little shop that's there.
It's a brilliant incentive scheme.
Well, they go out to Missionvale with a kind of a card in their pocket, which is no good outsider, so can't be robbed. Yeah. And it's useful in there, and it teaches financial independence. It teaches dignity at work. And when you walk through Missionvale, the volunteers and the paid people who are there, there's a sense of tremendous joy in what they do. Now, it's not without its challenges. It takes a lot of money to run. It takes a lot of volunteerism. And it takes the cooperation of the local authorities as well. And Africa Time is a unique experience.
In what sense?
Well, if you're asking me, and I'm African, you're saying, look, we have a job to do. Can you come soon? Yeah, no problem. I'll pop in maybe 3 days, and then the bureaucracy is absolutely, it's a big thing for them as well. But there's a fantastic team down there led by Louise, and I intend to annoy the hell off her every time I'm down there now. But
I was going to ask you that, because clearly this visit has affected you personally. I don't know whether it's changed the way you think about poverty or community support, but I was going to ask whether your annual visits now will incorporate rolling up the sleeves and making sandwiches at Missionvale.
Well, what I did, Alan, was it opened my eyes, and it reminded me that there are so many other people in the world who have absolutely nothing, and the chances of them getting their foot on the ladder to come out of that poverty is quite low. And interventions like Missionvale can be that first step out of there. It can be the rebuilding of dignity. I went in the first day, and there was a blackboard, and on the blackboard there was Kate Míle Fáilte a Sheán. And there was 3 ladies sitting down waiting to go into the clinic to get all sorts of checks, and I jumped into the middle of them just to get a photograph, and it was absolutely great crack. Yeah, you can have fun. And I'm also doing a bit of work here with Ollie O'Loughlin, who is on the Missionvale board. So I don't know where it's going to go, but I do know it has given me a little bit of... it was like when you get a mobile phone and put it into a charger. It gave me this kind of boost and a kind of something to do of value, and something I've always wanted to do. So that sense of vocation that I've always had got a little bit more fire put under it.
I guess, John, there can be one of the greatest feelings a person can experience is that feeling of, be it joy or contentment or satisfaction or whatever word you want to use, or helping someone else who needs help, and helping improve their life in some way, whether it's permanently, momentarily, even if it's just for a while in one day, to have made a positive difference in someone's life.
Yeah, and what Missionvale does, they're scratching the surface of a massive problem, but for the people that get in those gates, they're changing their lives. Absolutely changing their lives, and to witness that firsthand, and to go down through the little graveyard they have there, and you've got people's names here from Ennis on it, and it was Breeding Twist, Father Seamus Ryan, Sister Ethel, all the plaques to remember. Connections. It was amazing. And here's me walking through it from Kilkee in Missionvale. It's typically me, of course, going the first day when it was closed.
Well, look, at least you learned anyway. You won't do that again.
No, I did not.
How big, John, is Missionvale? Given some of the kind of different services it provides that you've highlighted there, it sounds like quite a big complex.
It's massive, Alan, and really I'd need to do my research a bit more on it. I mean, you've got your school, which is quite big buildings. There's kitchens there, you have the training centre there, you have the medical centre, you have the shop, you have, it's a holistic approach. It's a big centre, and walking around, there's 3 or 4 minibuses, some of them donated by Ford out there. So it's huge, and it's not just the only centre that's in Portland, but there are other centres around also, but I was at the actual care centre. So yeah, a big spot.
Well, I have to say, it sounds like a life-changing. I don't think that's too strong a phrase to use for you.
No.
A life-changing experience that you've kind of gone through.
And Alan, it was strange. I don't mean to cut across you. It was strange that when my friend Marcus, who is lives in South Africa and a friend of ours, when he came down there, he's lived there all his life. He's lived in Jeffreys Bay all his life, and he runs a gardening service out there, and he does quite well. A gentleman, and he says, "Yeah, I will go down with you." And when we left that day, we stopped on the way back to get lunch or whatever it was, or dinner, and he said, "I never realised it was like this," and it challenged his preconceptions as to the attitude, his attitude previously towards the poor. Now, you have to be careful. I mean, even in a place like Jeffreys Bay, people will approach you looking for it, and you can't help everybody. It's not possible. And, but in a centre like that, where it is a focused effort at promoting human dignity, then it does affect your heart, it does affect your soul. It opens your eyes.
Wow, what an incredible experience.
Yes.
And I'm sure those students who are going there soon from Rice College and the others who will be part of that trip will have the same experience. John, thank you so much for sharing that with us. And I guess it make us all a little bit, everyone goes through difficulties, but it make us all maybe have a bit more perspective, I guess, on the difficulties that we are dealing with. John Burns, thanks as ever
My
for
pleasure,
joining us
Alan. Have a good
on
day.
Morning Focus.